Am I becoming a furry? I mean, I just finished Beastars, loved it, rewatched Zootopia, loved it, and I'm super excited to getting around to watching Trigger's new series, Brand New Animal. Rather than answer that question, I think I'm gonna completely ignore it and talk about the internet's favorite topic, discrimination. More specifically, how it is portrayed in both Zootopia and Beastars. Before I get into the nitty-gritty though, I'd like to make a few things clear. I am aware of the massive differences in these two pieces of cinema. Zootopia was made for kids, Beastars was made for adults. Zootopia is a movie, Beastars is an ongoing show being adapted from an ongoing manga, of which we'll only be addressing the anime. Zootopia was made by and for a Western audience, and Beastars was made by and for an Eastern one, etc. However, none of that changes what the viewer will experience with their ears and eyeballs while watching the two, and as such, I'm going to proceed knowing that you know that none of that stuff is playing a role into my analysis of either of these works of art. Also, do not expect this to be a review. I'm not going to end the video saying, and that's why Zootopia is better than Beastars. This is nothing more than a comparison of the obvious similarities in these two works, not how good they are as complete packages. They are both great though, and if you haven't seen either of them, I would recommend checking them out before watching this video because I am obviously going to get into some spoilery content, and I would highly recommend both. Zootopia is better, by the way, don't at me. And of course, this goes without saying, but all of this is simply my opinion and interpretation. I'll try to provide adequate reasoning for my stances, but feel free to disagree. Anywho, let's get on with the video. Themes are a very important thing to me. There are a few things that I love more than seeing a message that I agree with being represented in the stuff I watch, and one of the messages that I value the most is just basic kindness. As someone who spends a lot of their free time on the internet, as I'm sure many of us can relate to right now, I've seen so many instances of just mean-spiritedness and people seemingly trying to extract the most cynical interpretation possible out of someone else's work. And of course, the most important part of kindness is showing it to everyone, regardless of their background. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, or what interests you have, you deserve a baseline level of kindness. This belief is shared by both Zootopia and Beastars, and this was an important part of why I enjoyed each of them so much. As I ruminated on each of these works of cinema though, I noticed some integral and fascinating differences in the two of them, which allows them to feel so thematically distinct from one another. My main takeaway, and what could be considered the thesis of this video, is that Zootopia is idealistic in its view of people, while Beastars is pessimistic and arguably more realistic. I find that we can see this most clearly demonstrated in both of our bunny characters, Haru and Judy Hopps, and real quick, I'm just gonna... Both Judy and Haru are seen by their respective societies as weak and generally incapable, and this presents each of them with a conflict. And it is how they react to that conflict that illustrates the ideological differences between these two works. Judy Hopps remains determined to become a police officer despite her disadvantages, and through hard work manages to do just that at the top of her class, in fact. On the other hand, we have Haru, who from an early age realized that she wasn't as physically capable as nearly everyone around her and ended up being pitied for many years due to this. Eventually, another student confessed his love for her, and upon having sex for the first time, she came to realize that it was the only situation where she had something to give to other people rather than being helpless. Each of these situations presents a character who is less capable than their peers from birth. The key difference being that in Zootopia, Judy is able to overcome those disadvantages in order to achieve her goals, and in Beastars, Haru herself changes in response to those disadvantages. And a large part of why differences such as these exist in these two stories is because of the variation in each of their world designs. Zootopia's animals are much closer to humans than those of Beastars on an evolutionary and behavioral level. They are pretty much depicted as straight-up humans, so evolved that they don't naturally exhibit any instinctual behaviors that we would expect. Discrimination only occurs because of stereotypes that aren't true. For example, as a child, Nick was muzzled by a group of kids and is just generally not trusted in day-to-day life because people arbitrarily believe that all foxes are sneaky and untrustworthy, even when they don't have any other reason to think that of Nick. It even goes further than how the animals in Zootopia see other animals. It's also about how they see themselves. Gideon Grey bullied Judy and the other herbivores when they were kids, and his justification for this is because he is a predator and the others are prey. Noteworthy is his use of past tense when saying predators used to eat prey. It's quite obvious that instincts don't play a role in the behavior of Zootopia's animals. Gideon isn't being a bully because he's a fox, it's just because he's a jerk. In fact, later in the movie, we get to see Gideon grown up, and he admits that the reason he was acting this way was because he had a lot of self-doubt, which he dealt with in an unhealthy manner. It's not related to him being a fox at all. There are moments like this all over the movie that I could continue to bring up, but suffice it to say, Zootopia is meant to inspire. It tells its audience that your background doesn't define you, and that, as is remarked upon in the movie, anyone can be anything. And if Zootopia is proclaiming that anyone can be anything, Beastars is retorting with, well, not anyone. I said that Zootopia's animals are closer to humans evolutionarily, however, in terms of interpersonal relationships, I think Beastars hits a little closer to home. Which isn't what you'd expect, considering the animals in Beastars are a lot more humanoid than those of Zootopia, and the society presented in Zootopia is a lot more universally accessible to all species than that of Beastars, but whatever. To illustrate this, I direct your attention to Rui, a red deer. Rui is the pinnacle of worked to get to the top. From birth, he was raised to be meat for carnivores on the black market, and when he was 5, he was chosen by the president of the Horns conglomerate, don't know what that is yet, to be his successor. He was given the mission to change the world so that herbivores won't have to live in fear of carnivores, and his extreme determination to be the symbol of a powerful herbivore is both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. He is the most popular and influential person in the school, and a candidate for the next Beastar. However, he will go to any length to maintain his social status, even if it means threatening others or pushing himself beyond his literal breaking point. And despite everything that he has accomplished, Rui is incredibly envious of the carnivores at the school for their physical strength, because he knows that no matter how much he tries, he will never be able to match their baseline physicality. This puts him directly at odds with our main character, Legoshi, who is a gray wolf. Legoshi has one of the most intimidating statures around, and he feels incredibly guilt over being born a carnivore, going to any length he can to appear as approachable as possible, but despite his efforts, it's just something he can't help. It's perfectly summarized in the scene wherein we find out that Legoshi cuts his nails every day so that they won't be sharp, but they always just immediately grow back. Rui is disgusted by the way Legoshi acts because he sees Legoshi as not living up to his full potential, and Rui believes that if he were a wolf, he would use that privilege to take his rightfully owed spot at the top of the metaphorical food chain. The allegories to race, gender, and especially class could not be more obvious. Beastars, in contrast to Zootopia, is demonstrating that you can't control some things about yourself, and that those things are going to affect how other people perceive you. And this message only gets more obvious when we put Legoshi and Haru's relationship under a microscope. It's actually kind of funny how the huge amount of fan fictions of Zootopia tackle the implications of Judy and Nick getting into a relationship, and that probably wouldn't be socially acceptable, and here we have Beastars doing a little bit of the exact same thing. By the way, I'm not saying that Beastars copied Zootopia fan fictions, I just thought that was an interesting observation. But not only will your background affect other people's perception of you, it will also play a role in what you are capable of. In the same way that people who come from poor families aren't always going to have the security that the upper class does, herbivores aren't always going to be able to protect themselves from, for example, being kidnapped. And in the same way that people who come from financially stable households can't change the fact that they have more opportunities than the lower class does, carnivores can't change the fact that they inherently have more interpersonal influence than herbivores. Compare this depiction of the imbalance of societal power to how in Zootopia, not only do the predators that go savage only go savage because they were shot with a synthetic drug that makes them go crazy, but herbivores can go savage as well. Zootopia is clearly not depicting the very real social differences in things like class, race, and gender, whereas Beastars makes it a point to showcase how disadvantaged and advantaged some members of society are. And not only does Beastars depict this, but it teaches the audience a lesson about it. That being that the correct thing the privileged members of society can do with their privilege is make sure to use it responsibly and to help others with it rather than hurt them. I mean, just look at the relationship between Legoshi and Haru. Legoshi is constantly wondering if his feelings for Haru are love or instinct, as he is a wolf and she is a rabbit, and after he finally comes to the realization that he in fact loves her, he proclaims that his claws and fangs are for her. Legoshi decides that the best thing he can do with the privilege he was born with is use it to improve the life of someone he cares about. And as a tangentially related point, I think it's interesting that Legoshi's decision to protect Haru is exactly what Haru hates about being a rabbit. She doesn't like feeling helpless, so I could imagine a conflict of their relationship arising in this regard. Then again, what she really wants is for someone to see her as a person rather than something to look down upon, which Legoshi fulfills. The pity she gets from everybody is really just symptomatic of that, so I'm interested to see if this goes anywhere in the future. As you may have figured out by now, I think there is a lot more to say about Beastars' themes of discrimination than Zootopia Zootopia's, and that isn't a knock to Zootopia. I said earlier that my thesis statement is that Zootopia is idealistic while Beastars is realistic, and especially when it comes to the topics that I've discussed in this video, I think that both of these qualities are equally valuable. I wouldn't say it's a stretch to assume that a huge reason that both of these works of art are so beloved by so many individuals is because they each send a message that fans want to be spread to as many people as possible. And I think that the more different perspectives get heard, the better, because that gives everyone a view into the thought process of other people, allowing us to better understand each other and make more educated decisions in our own lives. I mean, I internalized Zootopia's message upon watching it for the first time, and I think I became a better person because of it, but I was also missing another perspective on this topic, which Beastars made me really think about. And even more so did the making of this video. Comparing and contrasting these two works forced me to digest what they have to offer in a lot more detail than I would have if I had just watched them. I had to do actual research on many of the points I made in this video to make sure I didn't stick my foot in my mouth, and you know what? Maybe I did that anyway. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is all just my interpretation, which I tried to support as best I could. Between Beastars and Zootopia, I think I prefer Zootopia, even if only slightly. Setting aside stuff like how absolutely gorgeous the movie is, I've always had a bias towards inspirational stories, and Zootopia is just the perfect embodiment of that. Like, Judy's training montage is just so amazing. I can't describe how much I love getting to see characters put in hard work to achieve their dreams, especially when it involves physical exercise. It just immediately connects with me so much. Why do you think I love the panda as much as I do? Even still, I completely understand why someone would prefer Beastars over Zootopia, especially if they had been through similar experiences as these characters. In the end, both are absolutely deserving of the praise they receive, and I'm happy to have been able to break them down in this video. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more of me breaking down works of cinema, you can check out the wealth of content on my channel discussing all sorts of stuff. Cartoons, anime, live action, I'm even contemplating getting into discussing video games, who knows? I'm always trying to add something new to the conversation of whatever I feel like talking about, and to do so in an entertaining fashion, just like I have hopefully done in this video. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, I implore you to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of when I upload in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.